everyone, and welcome to the Global Business Update with TA. 7 stories from around the world to keep you updated. Well, as much as 4 million gig economy workers in Europe, those who are working part-time or even those who are working for apps and digital platforms like Uber, Deliveroo, they are going to be getting a lot of benefits, including maybe set pays, minimum wages, and even proper leave. A new policy that is being brought by the European Union is set to look after them, and especially as the workers on these digital platforms are increasing, might not be a bad idea. And as expected, the giants in this arena like Uber are already pushing back. Meanwhile, food prices are set to escalate further in 2022. I know, not the best news we were hoping for. But palm oil prices, palm oil is a commodity used in so many different food items and even so many prepared foods as well. And the palm oil prices are set to expand and rise by up to 15%, especially in countries like Malaysia, key palm oil supplying markets. In these countries, lack of proper labor, migrant labor not being there, and so many other factors are driving these prices extremely high. Meanwhile, we also see the Great Resignation further taking place. Over the last few months, as much as 4.4 million workers, in fact, more than 3% of the US labor force. And not only that, even in the EU region, we are seeing about 2 million people being out of the workforce voluntarily by the time the pandemic is over. And this is mainly, they say, due to the burnouts. People are no longer happy to be working so hard, and maybe they are sick and tired of working from home. And along with the COVID pandemic, we know that there was a Zoom epidemic as well. And due to all these factors, the Great Resignation continues. Even in countries like Japan, we are seeing this trend, and China too. A lot of millennials especially are opting out to take a break, to look around and look at other options, and in fact simply, as they call it, to lie flat. Now, Australia is finding a new regional partner, and they've said that they prefer someone more democratic and liberal. Of course, they can't be talking about China. In fact, they are talking about India. Now, the souring of relationships between Australia and China over various factors and over various comments made by the Australian Prime Minister continued, and this has affected lots of the trade deals and the trade they've been doing with each other. China is one of the biggest markets for Australian wine, and Australia is one of the biggest sellers of iron ore to China. Now, despite all these souring relations, actually due to all these souring relations, we see Australia getting more cozier with India, and India absolutely loves it. Narendra Modi was the keynote speaker in some of the tech forums and business forums in Australia, which is not very common, but Australia too has very openly said that they prefer a trade partner who is more liberal and democratic. How does this going to turn out to play, especially in a more grander scale of regional politics? Time would tell. Fossil fuel go away. Well, that is the mantra, but Adani Group shows why it's easier said than done. Recently, the Carmichael Australian coal mine owned by the Adani Group, despite so many protests, lawsuits, and so many concerns by activists, went ahead, and it's expected to produce more than 10 million tons of coal per year. However, it also does say that they are looking at making coal in a much more environmentally friendlier manner, and also that they are looking at minimizing the impact from coal on the planet and the climate. But on a more good news, one would say, well, Shell Oil is pulling out of the Cambo development project of UK due to mainly the activist concerns and the protests. They have pulled out of that new oil drilling project as well. So, well, it shows the balance. On one part of the world, we see coal moving forward, and another part, we see a large oil company pulling out of a usual fossil fuel-based drilling project. But overall, still, despite all the COP26 and so many other discussions, unclean energy or fossil fuel is simply refusing to die down. Live stream shopping, well, as you know the phenomena, that's where they will be selling a product live, especially on online channels. Now in China, one of the biggest markets for live stream shopping, this year the live stream sales have doubled up to more than $313 billion. However, it was a concept that was initially popularized by the Alibaba Group, but as you know, the scrutiny on them is high from the Chinese government, and as a result, we see that their share of the market is going down, and they are being challenged by other companies like ByteDance. ByteDance, the owner of the famous app TikTok. In fact, TikTok is now becoming a super app, and live stream shopping is definitely a possibility for them as well. And in other tech news from China, we see due to pressure from the Chinese government and the US government probably, we see Didi, the ride-hailing app of China, in other words China's Uber, planning to delist from the American stock exchanges and shift to Hong Kong. In fact, there are so many other Chinese tech companies that are planning to do the same. Who will be the ultimate winner and loser of this? We shall wait and see. And on a final note, if you are just like everybody else, wondering when on earth is this pandemic going to end, JP Morgan, the investment bank, might finally have some good news for you. According to their predictions, the pandemic will come to an end in 2022 and the world economic recovery will be in full swing. However, they do caution investors and anyone interested about future forecasts that regional uncertainty, especially with the potential clashes of US and China, possible global energy crisis, and even supply chain shortages will continue to cause chaos in the business world. That's it for this week. And no matter what business you may be in, stay safe and keep booming.